big and dare to fail.
Believe you can, and you're halfway there.
Turn your wounds into wisdom.
Journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step.
You never fail until you stop trying.
The only impossible journey is the one you never begin.
Nothing is impossible. The word itself says, I'm possible.
Have enough courage to start and enough heart to finish.
Try again. Fail again. Fail better.
In the middle of every difficulty lies opportunity.
No great thing is created suddenly.
Life isn't about finding yourself. Life is about creating yourself.
Giving up is not an option.
Welcome to Failure Isn't Fatal. I'm your host, Matthew Loudenberg. Today, I have with me my sister-in-law, Victoria Karnes. Hi, Vicky.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning or good afternoon. Yeah,
No,
still morning. Still morning. Good morning.
So, Vicky is very involved in the world of competitive cheerleading.
Yes, I am.
Um,
Very long time.
yeah, how many years do you have?
Oh shoot. In competitive or in general?
Either or, I guess, in general and in competitive.
Well, competitive about 10 years. This would be my 10th year. And then general, I think about close to 18 years in general, the cheerleading world.
Pretty much most of your life, because you're what, 26?
Yeah, started when I was 9, I think.
Oh.
9.
That's a lot of cheerleading.
Yes, a lot.
So the world of competitive cheerleading, much like any other sport, involves a lot of obstacles that you have to overcome.
Yes, a lot. Mainly, I feel probably say a lot of mental obstacles and physical. So both mental and physical as well.
Like what kind of mental and physical obstacles are you talking about?
Physically, I would say obstacles most cheerleaders overcome are probably pushing your body to do things that your body's not really meant to do. And overall, mentally, it's the fear and the being perfect in the air, or just the general being perfect for something that perfect doesn't exist or won't ever exist for.
Perfect doesn't really exist in anything in life.
Exactly, 100%. But in the world of cheerleading, it's hard because when you coach, because I kind of have both of the coach and athlete perspective of it all. And when you coach, you want your kids to be perfect. You want that perfect score. You want them to hit perfectly. You don't want anything to fail. And in the athlete perspective, like, okay, well, if I don't hit this perfectly, then I'm not going to do the best I can for my coaches or my team. And so in a sense, mentally, you're striving for something that doesn't exist. And for a lot of people, especially the younger kids who are in the higher levels of cheerleading, they put a lot of excess pressure and stress on themselves. And when something isn't near perfect, it's like they break down, and they shouldn't be at that age, like around 12, 13 on a world's team, putting all that stress on themselves. And then the doubt and the fear pop in, and then they start to think that they're not good enough. And then that just escalates, and it's a whole mental battle for cheerleading.
Right.
So, and I've definitely struggled with that, even at my age, being on a level 6 team with a lot of younger athletes. It's hard to see the younger ones that I have to take underneath my wing and basically tell them it's okay to fail. It's okay to not be perfect, because we're all not perfect. And even I'm not perfect. And they don't want to let the coach down. Neither do I, but it's a hard mental battle with yourself to not stay in your head, especially when you're trying to strive for something that doesn't exist in this in the world of competitive cheerleading, just to win the title of world champion or summit champion or whatever it is out there that they're trying to strive for.
Very well said.
Thank you.
So how do you deal with these failures that you said you encounter? You know, if you didn't hit correctly or missed a step or any of these different situations, how do you deal with that? How do you tell yourself, like, you know, it's okay, or, you know, better next time, whatever? What's your process?
So this process, this process has taken me quite a long time. Because I feel like I am my father's daughter and I am a perfectionist, kind of like my sister. And you probably
Yes.
agree.
Okay, I do.
um,
100%.
yes, I'm probably not a perfectionist with almost everything else in my life, just this because I'm so passionate about it. But this process took me a while because once you get in a habit, it's hard to break it. Um, I would get in my head a lot that if I didn't hit within the first 3 times I tried something or 3 times I did my stunt or whatever, then I would get in my head like it's all my fault. It's my fault. It's not hitting. I'm not good enough. I'm not being the best I can be. And it took me quite a few years, not even a few years, took me up until last year, I guess you could say, to be okay with failing and um be okay with realizing you're not letting your teammates down and you're not letting your coaches down. And my process is that when something hits, I have to look at my group and I have to just breathe and I have to go. And it's hard because I have to say it out loud. I can't say it in just my head. I'm like, hey guys, it's okay. It's okay. We're great. It's gonna hit. It's gonna hit. And if it doesn't go again, I'm like, it's all right. It's all right. We're just having a bad day. It's all right.
Yeah.
It's okay. Like I have to physically say it out loud to myself because if I stay in my head, I'm like, it's okay. It's okay. You're doing okay. You're doing okay. Then I'm gonna start freaking myself out and I'm gonna start like overwhelming myself. And then I'm gonna start being like, no, it's not okay. It's not okay. Because if I'm in my head, I have 2 voices and it's I call them the people. The people,
The
I
people.
have these people who tell me, no, it's not okay. You're not doing this right. You need to do better. And then I have the other people in my head that are like, no, it's okay. It's all right. You're just having an off day. We need to figure out what's going wrong. It's not just you. There's more than one person in this group. It's not just you. And I think it also this year has helped me because I can't be in my head a lot when I have the younger flyers to take under my wing and lead. So it's helped me a bunch when I have other people who are younger than me that need that guidance and need that type of person be like, okay, well, she's okay with it. Like I shouldn't be in my head about it. And like, cause if I was in my head about it, my little nuggets on the floor would be like, oh my God, well, she freaks out. I should freak out too. So like I think in a sense this year on this team has helped me a lot. And I even struggled last year. Like I've been on last year, the team I was on it for 7 years. And even last year, I went through a lot mentally and physically. And
Yeah.
I had a lot of moments where I just felt like I wasn't good enough to be on that team because my stunt wasn't hitting with somebody or my stunt had an extra help of hands on it because it just wasn't going great. And then I looked at other people and they didn't have those extra hands. And then I was like, well, why am I on this team and all this? And people were trying to tell me like, no, like you're one of the best flyers. I'm like, then why do I have extra hands? But I've learned it's okay to fail and it's okay to make mistakes. And I try to portray that to the kids I coach because they're sort of in a way like me. They don't want to disappoint me. They don't want to let me down. So if something goes wrong in the stunt, they get upset and they fixate on it. And I always ask them, why are you upset? And they're like, well, our stunt was hitting and you said that we were going to do this if we made mistakes and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, it's okay. Like, it's okay. More reps, the better.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay. I have one little girl I coach. She cries a lot about almost everything. especially when she feels like she's failing me or her stunt isn't going right or whatever, she starts to get really upset. And yesterday I played this line game. It wasn't specifically to knock down the kids that aren't good in their groups. It was
Right.
to get more repetition in so they can feel more confident and they can hit the stunt when they're tired because they've done it so many times already.
Yeah,
And
like muscle memory kind of.
yeah, so my team did it on Tuesday and we did a total of like 60 repetitions of all of our stunts. I've never been so sore in my life. But but now I'm like, okay, well, wow, now we can hit it. But with my littles, it's different because they're like, well, Coach Vicky said this. Well, Coach Vicky said if this doesn't hit, then we're gonna do this. So like I was like, you know what, why don't we play a game? They love playing games, but she was starting to get a little bit upset. And I would always go up to them and ask them, why didn't you move up to the line? And they're like, well, we moved, or so and so did this, or like I didn't have this, or like her feet were apart. And I'm like, okay. I was like, then fix it this next time and then we can move up a line. And they started to make those changes when they realized, okay, we can do this, we can do this. And she didn't get upset. And so I saw tremendous like mental progress from her, because normally if I
Right.
walk up and say what's wrong, she like gives me this look like she's about to cry. So it was a lot of progress mentally for her. And that was the first time I've ever seen her switch the flip or flip the switch. I don't know why I said that backwards. Flip the switch and be like, okay, no, we got this, guys. We can do this. Let's do this. Make sure feet together, feet together. And I was like, this is a different kid. I've never coached this kid before. But it's just a huge mental game, I feel. It's all mental. Cheerleading's all mental. It sucks, but it's all mental. And I hate it, but it's all mental. Kind of like
Yeah.
gymnastics.
That builds good life skills, though. I think, those mental skills that you're building will help you in other areas of life, right?
Yeah. I would say it was since it would help you with like leadership. So like in for future wise and like when you get a career and all that stuff, like leadership, it helps you grow as a person, I feel. And because it's not only just like your teammates that are there for you, it's like your coaches and your gym. Like I don't think I would be the person I am today if I did not stay at the cheer gym I came to. Because I started at a different cheer gym and that one just split and exploded. That was a whole mess. And then did a merger with the gym I'm at now. And now just the people, because OC is about family, and that's our gym's motto is family. And I feel they really are a family. Everything I went through last year, like they were there for me, like my coaches, my boss, like everything there for me 100%. Like we're here for you, like let us know what you need, we're going to be there for you, like we're going to get you through this, all that stuff. Like that's a family, and I feel like every gym should do that, and I know not every gym has that. From
It's important to
most of
have.
yeah, what
It's important to have.
it is. And I feel like that's why our gym grows and does so well, is because our motto is based on family and not just all about winning. And most of the kids I've coached have come up to me and like their parents have told me like, you've impacted my child's life like so positively, like you have no idea. Like I had, and it's important for the little ones to have that coach that believes in them, because once you have that belief in a kid and they start to realize that belief, then they're like, okay, well, I can do anything. And I think that's an important life lesson. As long as you have someone believing in you and make you believe in yourself, then you can realize, oh, I can do anything. I've had about 2 of my kids last year came from broken homes, and one was going through brutal custody battle with mom and dad.
Mhm.
And dad was very abusive physically, mentally, verbally, emotionally, all of the above. And she was on my little minis, and her mom has told me, you don't understand. She goes, when she goes to therapy, the therapists have told me that you are making more of an impact than her coming to therapy.
Wow,
And
that's powerful.
it is. And I don't think I realize how good I am with the younger ones until parents come up to me and tell me that, or I have kids come up to me and tell me, you're my favorite coach. And I was like, what do you mean? And I was like, you don't like anybody else in this gym? They're like, well, no, like you always motivate me to be able to do anything I can. And you're always there for me. And you're always so nice. And like, you always believe in me more than I believe in myself. And I'm like, because I've been in your shoes. I feel like,
Wow.
yeah. I was like,
I
most of the
think
time
you believe in them more than you
yeah,
believe in yourself.
yeah, I would probably say that. Like, I just feel like I've been in most of these kids' shoes, and I've heard some of the ways they've been treated by either their teammates or their old teammates or their old coach at their old gym or whatever. And
Yeah.
it makes me like, I'm always that person that sees the good in everybody. Always, always 100%, sometimes to a fault. But it makes me realize like we could have amazing athletes and we can have these kids that are so great and extraordinary, but like we have those coaches or those teammates out there that doubt them, and then they sit there and then they start to doubt themselves. And so I feel like I have to be that person to erase that doubt from their head and make them realize like, hey, look, like you can do this, you can do anything you put your mind to. Like, why are you
Yeah.
listening to everybody else? Like, well, they keep telling me this is this. I was like, why would you ever believe that? And so I feel in a sense it's like I want to be that person that takes those people who are doubting themselves and erase the doubt and make them believe in themselves that they can do anything they can. Because I felt like for a while I didn't have that until I did. And it sucks. It sucks going through that. It's like I said, it's a whole mental game.
Yeah.
Whole mental game.
I think people don't realize the depth that goes into something like competitive cheerleading, or really any sport, that it creates this family or camaraderie between people, and it creates a whole support unit for everybody involved. It's not just about getting out there and winning and all that. It's about building confidence. It's about teaching skills. It's about preparing you for mentally for like other things, like we just mentioned. Being able to believe in yourself
Yeah.
is really important in any aspect of life.
Yeah.
And so I think something like cheerleading helps prepare you for that. It helps prepare you for like appreciating the wins and celebrating the accomplishments, but knowing that failure is part of the path to get there. And I
Yeah.
think that's a lot of people forget that failure is normal, and in your world, and failure is every day. It's part of the normal routine. If you didn't ever fail, something would be really weird, and it would take the fun out of it. I think if you didn't ever fail,
Yeah.
and you were fully successful at it every single time, like, well, okay, well, why even keep doing it then? I think
Yeah.
the drive to continuously be better is a motivator.
Yeah, 100%. And this past weekend, um, my team, we competed at USA, and um, we did not have the best weekend of our lives. We did not have the greatest week leading into it. We had probably the worst week of practices that I think Black has ever had in their whole season, including this past weekend. And we had to scratch on Saturday because we had an incident with one of our teammates, and she's okay now, but like we had to scratch on Saturday, so we didn't get to perform. And in a sense, we were all like, you know what, like this was God's plan. God knew that if we went out on that floor, something was going to happen. So God knew. And so we're like, okay, we're going to take Sunday and we're going to hit hard. And we didn't have the best routine, but also we felt proud because there was new elements that were added and no one was watered down for anything. And those were the elements that messed up. And for us, we all talked as a team afterwards because our coaches weren't happy and they were quite upset because that wasn't the routine and that wasn't the team they wanted to watch on the floor. And which I get from a coach's perspective, but as athletes, we were like, you know what, like that was the first time we've had all of our skills we were supposed to be throwing or doing in the routine from the get-go. And those were the only things that messed up. And we were like, we're pretty proud of that. And we're like, now we just need to like come back in and work harder. And it was in a sense funny because, well, not funny, I wouldn't say funny, but there's a team that we have, or for a gym that we've lost a good amount of athletes to because all they want to do is win. It's about winning nowadays. So now we watch this team and they've been hitting all season. They won NCAA, they're national champions, they're major champions, and like all this stuff. And like they've been winning like nonstop. Like they got a full paid bid when my team did, and they were like the highest scoring team in the competition and like all this. And like they're on a ball, and they've been on a ball since the beginning of the season. And we were all like, my whole team was talking about it. And I was like, you know what? I'd rather have what we're having right now, I said, and crap the floor some competitions and end up second, or be like, we might not get paid, guys, you know, like things like that, because to me, it's more worth it. And having like it, I feel like it would get boring winning every time. Like, oh yeah, I won again, kind of thing. Like you're not working harder for anything. You're already hitting your routine to near perfect. So like it's not like it's like when you would like if they go to Worlds and they win again because they won last year, like I don't feel like that win would be worth it because like, well, what did we work hard for? We've been hitting all season. There was nothing we worked for. We're just doing the same routine. And in my team's sense, it's like, well, what happened this past weekend? We've had a lot of comps where we haven't hit. And that, or we had to get things taken out, or people had to get things watered down, and then we had to put things back in, and then we had to work even harder for it. So I feel like our journey is more worth it than hitting all season and winning every single comp we step foot into. And it's like last year, my team that I've been on for 7 years, has never hit a zero deduction routine. Maybe twice, just twice out of whole 7 years I've been on it. And everyone always asks me, well, have you ever thought of like going to another gym? Like they win, like they could place top 3 at Worlds. And I said, no. I said, we keep getting better every year. I said, even though we don't hit zero or like we don't win all the time, I said, we're getting better. I said, I have a good feeling. And then last year was the chance, or God's, I would say, journey for that team was we won NCAA for the first time ever. And that was the first time she's ever taken our level 7 program to NCAA. And we ended up winning NCAA and then placing top 3 at Worlds. And that was, for me, that was it. I was like, I worked 7 years for this. And yeah, that's it. Now it's time for a new journey. And I just think, because a lot of people are like, well, this team never wins anything, so I'm just going to go to another gym. I'm like, well, no, you stick with something for so long, you'll reap the benefits from it eventually. And I think staying with Shadow for so long and believing, you know, it keeps getting better. We're keep getting more talented. We're going to do this. We're going to do this, and reaping the benefits from that and the awards from it, it's worth it. And this year it's the same way. Like it's worth it. Like the amount of work we put in for the practices, especially when our coaches are frustrated. I know it's going to pay off. It's going to pay off. And I think it did by us having a complete turnaround for our practices this week, and our coaches being so much more satisfied and happy of what they're getting out of us, instead of us having a crap week with everybody falling and nobody hitting nothing and them thinking we don't care. And it's happening. We're just having a bad week. We
Yeah,
need
yeah.
it.
Everybody has bad days, bad weeks. It's
Yeah.
part of
And I
life.
think,
It's allowed to happen.
yeah. And I think from a coach's perspective, we tend to forget that, because in
Yeah.
our minds, no, our athletes need to be good every practice. They need to be productive. They need
Right.
to be this every practice. And I'm like that. I know I'm like that, but only with like one of my teams. And it's because I feel I get where my coaches are coming from, because they know what we're capable of, and they know that we're talented, and they know that we can hit this routine.
Right.
And they get frustrated when we don't. And they can't understand why we don't. And in my perspective now, because I have both, I'm just like, we're tired. Like we're going on like comp number 6 or 7 right
Yeah,
now.
you guys
And
have
we're
been
like
competing a
starting,
lot recently.
yeah, I was like, we're starting to get a little bit burned out. But
Yeah.
it's like with my little ones, I can't be like, you're supposed to be perfect all the time. You're supposed to be hitting. And I'm just like, oh, well, line back up. That wasn't it. But it's,
Yeah. I think you got an interesting perspective on things, because you see both sides of it, from coaching to being an athlete. So I think that one kind of helps the other,
yeah.
you can kind of combine both worlds, versus just the coach who sees it only one way, or the athlete who only sees it one way. Being able to see both ends of that really helps put everything into perspective, and helps you be better at both of them individually.
Yeah. And I think the special part about OC is that most of the coaches have both perspectives, because they've either
Yeah.
competed on shadow or neon, or they've been on black, or they've been on one of the teams at OC. And so they have that advantage of knowing both sides and knowing, okay, I know what you're talking about. You're making an excuse, line it back up, and we're going to try it again, type of thing. But then there's the coaches that have never stepped foot on a floor and
Right.
competed, and they coach, and they've done it for so long, and like all this, and like, so they only see the coach perspective. And so like when they're just like routine after routine after routine, and they're wondering why their kids aren't hitting anything, is well, you're just running routines constantly, and you're not allowing them to like breathe. We're not
Yeah.
gonna run routines, we're gonna fix the mistakes, kind of thing. And they're just expecting them to hit every time. And I'm just like, the amount of physical endurance and mental strength they have to get through the routine, it's exhausting, especially after you've done it 5 or 6 times.
Right.
And I've been there, because my team, we've definitely done 5 routines back to back, and it was not, nope, never want to do it again. But in the long run, in the sense of things, it does make your routine easier later. But it's for a lot of other teams, it's not a good type of plan to have, because you're just gonna, in a sense, ruin your athletes. They're gonna
Yeah.
be fatigued, done, like, I don't want to do this. Like, they're gonna take the fun out of it if you just overdo it.
Yeah. There's a
And
limit for sure.
yeah, 100% a limit. Maybe not with level 1, but level 1, they can go all day. I'm pretty sure I've made my minis last year do about 5 or 6 routines full out. and they weren't tired. And I'm like, I don't know how,
Well,
but they're only doing
they're
about one.
younger.
I was like, they're
Kids
not
have
flipping.
tons of energy.
Yeah, I was like, they're not flipping or twisting their bodies. Their flyers are like this big, like not like it's easy for them. And
I wish I had the energy level of a kid still.
I do too.
So
I
that's
don't know
something you take for
how
granted.
I don't know how they have it. And most of the time when I walk right when I walk in the door, they all bombard me and we're just like, no, 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 go away, go away. You will see me in 10 minutes. I need
Yeah.
time, need to prepare. But it's weird because level one's the only level I feel like you can run, 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 run. And these kids be like, okay, yeah, I could hit the stuff. But once you get to like
Yeah.
level 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7, you can't do that because that's when the injuries happen. Because
Right.
injuries and then burnout happens and then physical fatigue and then kids not being able to hold anything up and then more injuries. But like it's when you get to the higher levels, it's more of you can't overdo or overrun routines because injuries 100%. Someone
Right.
will get hurt and then either they'll be done or whatever. But it's I think it's OC's blessed in that area to have a majority of our coaches know both sides. So they know how that athlete must be feeling or
Right.
what they need to do to make the stunt hit or something like that. So it's in a sense it's great that I'm at a program that we've had a majority of our coaches know both sides and not just one.
Yeah. I think that works out, but yeah, like like you've been saying, repetition really helps build things. A lot of, take, for example, going to the gym, you do bicep curls over and over again, and your bicep gets bigger. Um, but your brain works the same way.
Yeah.
You do mental exercises and it helps strengthen your brain. Obviously, your brain doesn't necessarily grow and get bigger, but
Yeah. That'd be
it, yeah. But it strengthens your mental capacity. The more you do something, whether it be physical or mental, it strengthens everything.
Yeah.
The more you do math, the faster at math you're going to be. It's just it's the way that it works. And what's going on in your world is physical and mental all rolled into one.
Yeah.
So you're kind of that's like the ultimate full body workout, if you ask me.
100%.
You're doing the workout inside and out.
Yeah. And with the mental part of it too, with my 2 level 1 teams, my minis and my youth kids, I like to do self affirmations with them before they go out on stage. And I've noticed from when I started it from this past weekend, I've noticed a huge difference in their performance.
Mhm.
And every time I have them all repeat after me and we all say, I am strong, I am confident, I am fierce, and I can do anything. And we repeat it twice. And like after they repeat it, I like tell them, I said, you have to scream it, you have to believe it. So because if we say these things and you don't believe it, I said, it's not going to happen for you. And I tell them that every time. I said, you have to say it loud, you have to believe it. If you don't believe it, it's not going to happen for you. And like my youth kids is my problem team. I've struggled with them from the beginning. You've heard all about it.
Yeah.
But this past weekend, they made me proud because I wasn't able to be with them mostly backstage a lot of the time because I was with my own team. And I know those kids love me and they want me to be there. And I think the self affirmations that they repeat and because they all tell me, like, I told my flyers is I have my little ones who get nervous in the air and their face is like this for action shots. And I'm like, we we need to be sassy up here. We need to own it, be confident. Like,
Gotta have
I feel
attitude
like,
to be a cheerleader.
yeah. And my coach used an analogy a couple weeks ago, and she said that she had this one flyer that she's like, I'm not going to say their name because I don't want to embarrass them. She's like, she goes, they were just having the worst time. Couldn't hit anything, couldn't hit any of her stunts. Her confidence was so low. And she had asked her, who in the whole cheerleading industry, who do you look up to? Who do you want to be like one day? And they said, she's like, I'm just going to make up a name. She's Jessica Knoll. I don't know who that is. She doesn't know who that is. She's like, I don't know a Jessica Knoll, but I'm just going to use that name. And she said Jessica Knoll. And she was like, okay. She goes, well, today, she goes, I'm giving you permission to fly like Jessica Knoll. She goes, how do you think Jessica Knoll would fly your stunts? She goes, go do it. And she goes, okay. And she said she's never seen her look so confident in the air, hit all her stuff. She goes, it was a complete switch from who she started at practice with and who she ended at practice with. And I pulled aside my youth flyers, and this is the part that went, because I was like, maybe I should try this analogy with my flyers before they went on stage. And when I did this analogy, their answers made me want to cry. I asked them, I said, who do you look up to as a flyer? And they said me. And I was like, okay, all right. I can't cry before they go on stage.
Yeah, not prepared for that.
Yeah, I wasn't prepared for that because I was like thinking they were gonna say like someone on another team they knew, and they said me. And I was like, okay. I was like, me?
Means you're doing a good
Really?
job.
Huh?
It means you're doing a good job.
Yeah. And I was like, me? Really? And they're like, yeah. And I was like, okay. I was like, well, how do you think Coach Vicky would fly your stunt? And they're like, clean, sassy, and sharp. I said, exactly. I said, so I told them, I said, I give you permission to fly like Coach Vicky on stage. And they're like, really? And I was like, yeah, the best I've ever seen them do. Like the cleanest, the sharpest I've ever seen them do on stage. And I was like, they made me really proud this past weekend. And the fact that they went against 10 teams and placed 6th, I was very impressed with that because they have not had a good year. So this is a little confidence booster for them.
Right. I think that's important to have a good mentor, in any aspect of life. Mentorship, someone to help guide you. I think for anything you want to do, I think it's important to have a coach. Even that's why athletes are so successful. They don't do it on their own. They have coaches, football players have, multiple different coaches from different aspects of the game. They have different people, not just one person saying, hey, do this, this, and this. They have a specific coach that is working with them in the gym, and they have another coach that's working with them on the field, and they have another one that's maybe working with them on their mental aspect of it. And, they have all these various coaches. And I think the most successful people in life have coaches and mentors. So if you're looking to do something, you should find someone who does that and use them as your reference. If you want to be the best flyer, you find the best flyer and then you mentor with them. You do what they do, and that's how you be successful. It's like I don't remember the author, but there's a book called Steal Like an Artist, and that's basically what it's saying is if you want to be successful, you copy what the successful people are doing, and you'll be successful. That's kind of how it works. And going back to your affirmations that you're doing with them, and even the asking them what flyer they wanted to be like, and that whole thing, the mental aspect of that is super crucial. Because it sounds really cliche, but I think therefore I am is 100% true. You're your thoughts, whether you think they do or not, manifest into your life 100%.
Yeah.
And there's another book by James Allen called As a Man Thinketh. And that's one of my favorite books. I'm rereading it right now, actually. And the basic concept of it is whatever you think is going to then come to fruition. So if you constantly think negatively, you're going to get negative results.
Yeah.
So if you think positively, you'll get positive results.
Yeah. I
And
was just talking
that's
about that with my mom
that,
last
well,
night.
it's exactly true, you know, like, and that's what affirmations are for. It's to remind you to think positively.
Yeah.
And it's all about controlling your thoughts, because like I said, everything you think plays a part into your day-to-day life.
Yeah.
And so affirmations, and then, or even just, you know, telling them, hey, you know, go fly like Coach Vicky, like to them, they were like, oh my God, I can. And that in their mind, they're thinking, well, she gave me permission to, I can do it. She thinks I can do it. Maybe I can fly like her.
Yeah.
And it gives them the confidence to go out there and do that. And I think that's super crucial.
100%. And I was just talking to my mom last night about like manifesting, and like I told her, I was like, you know, I was like, on Wednesday, like I was talking to a couple of my teammates who were filling in on our level 7 team, and I was like, you know what? I said, I we were talking about worlds, and I was like, I hope Black Globes this year. And he was like, you know, I'm trying to win. I said, you know what? I'm gonna change that around. I said, we're gonna win this year. Black is gonna win this year. I said, I need to start manifesting this. I was like, so I was like, you know what? We're gonna win this year. We're gonna win. We're gonna win. I said, we're gonna be world champions, guys. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it.
Yeah, see,
Instead of
changing
saying,
what you
yeah,
think can definitely make a difference. I don't think people realize the power behind your thoughts, and just simple changes to the way that you think about things you can make a drastic difference.
yeah, 100%. And I think our mentality from this past weekend is we all talked as a team with like out the coaches and everything. And we were like, you know what? We're going to come in and we're going to work hard. We're going to be there for one another. We're going to lift each other up, and we're going to do amazing things. And I think us coming in with that mindset already, and us ready to attack the practice and be positive about it and feel good about it, it made a huge difference. And it got,
Absolutely.
yeah, it made a huge change and a huge difference. And the coaches were like, yeah, we've been waiting for that. And it all came down to, they just kind of let us kind of, I guess you could say, warm up ourselves, run what the coaches would normally run. Like, okay, line up this, we're going to count this through, we're going to warm this up. They were like, all right, you have 3 minutes to warm up all your stunts. We all warmed up our stunts together, and we were like, all right, we're done. And they're like, what a great warm up. Like, the coaches didn't do anything, so they figured it was accountability. And they kind of put that on us. And then we're like, you know what? We got this. We got this. And we made it through as a team. And I think like thinking positively like that and taking the responsibility of what the coaches normally do, it helped us and made a huge difference from
Yep.
what we've been doing.
I believe that.
Yeah, because then that we were like, oh, they trust us. They trust us to warm up. They trust us that we can hit. They believe, okay, let's do this. Like we're ready. We're down. And so it made a huge difference. And I feel like just thinking, you know what, we are, instead of saying I hope or I think or maybe, it's no, we are. We're gonna hit. We're gonna win. We're gonna do amazing things. And
just
so
that small little change. And, you know, like you said, instead of saying, oh, I hope that we can do this. You know, I think that we can do it. Just saying, you know what, I can do this. We can do this. Makes all the difference in the world. That one little word can make a huge difference, you know. And I think being able to really control your thoughts is difficult but important
Yeah.
to be able to think positively, even when bad things happen. To be able to stay in that positive frame of mind is crucial. And I've been doing a lot of research on meditation recently, and meditation is very misunderstood. A lot of people think that meditation, I thought so myself, I'm guilty of it, that meditation requires a lot of things, like you got to sit in certain positions and you have to do things a certain way. And the biggest misconception is that meditation is about clearing your head. You have to be able to not think about anything at all. And that's exactly what I thought meditation was. Like, you have to be able to stop thinking in order to meditate. And I thought, there's no way. I can't shut my brain off. My brain runs at 100 miles an hour all the time. I'm constantly doing this thing while doing this thing and leaving this thing half done because I switched over to this thing. And, I'm all over the place all the time. And I thought, there's no way that I could ever just shut that off. And through my research, I found that that's not at all what meditation is. It's not about clearing your mind and not thinking about anything. Meditation is about focus and focusing your mind on one thing.
Yeah.
And being able to say, okay, I'm thinking about this, I'm acknowledging this, and this is what I'm thinking about. And when you first start doing it, it's kind of like your mind wanders. You're like, oh, okay, I'm focusing on this, I'm thinking about, like, you start basically with breathing. I'm focusing on my breathing. Oh, but then I'm like, oh, I have this to do today and I need to do this, and yesterday this happened, and your mind just starts to wander. And then a lot of people think, oh, I failed, I can't meditate, I can't stay focused on one thing, my brain wandered, that's it, and I'm done.
Yeah.
But actually, meditation is that wandering is normal, and that's what's supposed to happen. But what meditation is about realizing that your brain wandered and bringing it back
Yeah.
into what you were focusing on. That's what it's all about. It's about acknowledging the fact that, oh, I did start thinking about something else. I see that. Now let me bring it back to what I was originally thinking about. So being able to catch your brain thinking about these different things and stop it, and then think about, whatever it is you wanted to focus on, that's the real goal. And
Yeah.
so you're not failing by thinking about other things and coming back to it. You're actually succeeding in it. And I think that that plays a big part in things, is when something bad happens, your first reaction might be, oh, I should think this, and it might be negative. But being able to catch yourself and go, oh, wait, I'm thinking about this wrong. I should think about it this way, and I should focus on this. So I think that's a huge game changer for
Yeah.
sure.
And I was kind of being a little cheesy, and when my team was having, like, it was just us talking without the coaches, because we had asked if we could have a conversation without them. And
Sure.
a couple of the girls were like saying, like, I know, like, our coach is upset right now, and like he says things, and we, like, know out of, because we've known him for so long. And she goes, but I just want to say, like, I think we do care, and I think, like, that routine was a pretty good one considering the week we've had, and all this stuff. And she goes, I feel like we kind of needed this, and all this. And then I started to speak, and I was like, I was being cheesy, and I was like, I view this as our fall before the rise. And I said it, and then I was like, and then I went in, and then I went, and I was like, I said that. I said, and then I thought of my brother-in-law, and then I told them about how your company was called that. And I was like, because they were like, oh, I like that. I like that. I was like, but in a sense, it's true. I was like,
It is.
this for my team, this, for last weekend, this past weekend, like it was literally our fall. And now we're starting to rise to that occasion. And no team wants to peak too early in their season. And I was literally thinking, I was like, this was meant to happen, because we started off like our first competition that was just for us, like our team, because we got an invitation to there. We hit 2 really good routines,
Mhm.
and we saw, like, it was world's judges judging us at this competition, and we saw where we placed, and we saw our score, and we saw where we could potentially be. And that wasn't even with all of our difficulty in. So imagine with all of our difficulty in and us hitting, we potentially would be scoring in the 140s, and our
Right.
and world scores are out of 150. And so for us to hear
High
that,
scores.
it was a huge confidence booster, because that means we're up there with the big dogs, like all those teams that have won like multiple world's titles. And it felt great to know that we were capable of something like that. And yeah, we've had a couple routines that were rocky, but they hit. But I feel like this was God's journey, and this was for us.
Yeah.
And this was meant to happen. Like, we were meant to have an awful week of practices and an awful weekend of competing. Like, we were meant for that. And it happened. So this week and next weekend and our next competition in Worlds can be where we want to go. It's
It's a learning experience. It's just, it's something you guys can learn from and grow from. And without that, without failure, without falling, then you can't grow. It's impossible. And so, I mean, that's, fall and rise. Obviously, I'm a big fan of that phrase, but it's accurate.
Yeah.
Every time you fall, you can rise. And and I mentioned this in a previous podcast episode, that to date you have survived everything that you've ever been through. You made it through. You thought you wouldn't make it through certain things. There was times when you thought, I can't get past that. This is the end of my life. This is it. It's over. How do I grow from this? How do I continue on? But you did it. You're here. You made it.
Yeah.
And that's something to try and keep in mind, is that you've survived everything else, that you're going to survive this too. And that's in anything, you've failed before and you're going to fail again. And that's a big thing, I think, is just coming to that realization that you're going to continue to fail in life, instead of having that, I'm going to be perfect. I'm going to do, everything right. And a lot of people get discouraged because they do something for the first time and they fail at it and they go, well, I suck at that. I can't do it. But just the mindset of knowing that you're going to fail. Then when you do fail, you're like, oh, well, I knew this was going to happen. It happened. What can I take away from it? And now let's move on from it.
Yeah.
It's all about a mental thing. Life is much more mental than I think people realize, than I realized, just even a few years ago. It's a lot more in your head and everything like that than what you would think it would be. But, and even like on a whole other, happiness and like all that stuff is a mental game more than it is, do I have the job? Do I have the car? Do I have the house, the fancy, this, that, and the other? You can have all that stuff and still be unhappy.
Yeah.
It's all about being in your head. You could have none of that and be the happiest person in the world. Happiness is 100% mental.
Yeah.
And life is mental.
Yes. 100%.
Wow. Oh, well, thanks for being here with us, Vicky. Appreciate you taking time out of your morning I know it's
Okay.
early for you.
You know,
So,
it's all good. It's all good.
thanks for talking with us, and I wish you luck in your future competitions. I know you probably have some more competitions coming up.
Yep, we have one 4 hours from you in Nashville, Tennessee in 2 weeks.
Well, all right.
And then
Well,
Road to Worlds.
well, best of luck to you on your future competitions,
Thank
and
you.
see you next time.